About 100 years ago, it seems anyway, a very good friend of mine who unfortunately is no longer with us by the name of Sam Lecoq. A very innovative guy, really very innovative guy. Invented some neat stuff. He worked for almost all of the big five dive stores in the 60s, and he had his own company finally called Sportsways. His regulators were called water lung. Story behind that, which I'll share with you some other time. But anyway, he had the first SPG. Yeah, the first SPG. SPG, what's that? That's a submersible pressure gauge. Was a really, really big innovation. And pretty soon, certainly today, it was absolutely universal. Every diver had to have, wanted to have, and had to have an SPG. So much so, in fact, that the SPG became part of what was called the console. So there's an SPG, there's a compass for direction, on the back is your depth gauge. There's your information right there, is your dashboard. Now, a lot of divers still use SPGs. When I say scrap your SPG, or say what do they use instead? Well, it is 2024, almost 2025, and today things have changed a great deal. Old Sam Lecoq would freak if he knew what we had now. These are computers. And these are really nice. So they have still attached, and you look at it, and it tells you your depth. It tells you air remaining. Yeah. It tells you how long that air is going to last, because that's related to the depth, right? So if you have a certain amount of air, say 1,000 PSI, and you're at 10 feet, oh, you're good for half an hour. But if you have 1,000 PSI and you're at 100 feet, hey, you only got about 6 minutes left. It tells you all of that. Not only that, the newest computers, the very best computers, do all of your no decompression calculations as well. As sport divers, recreational divers, we always dive within the no decompression limits, so we never have to face the dangers of decompression sickness. The computer does it all for you. It even logs your dives. Now you don't need a logbook. You look at your pump hit history. Okay, 16 dives last week. It's all there. It's fantastic. It's all computerized. Here's another type of computer, almost exactly the same. Except this one, instead of being mounted on a hose like the old SPG, this one goes on your wrist. It's like a big watch. Goes on all the same stuff. Pressure, depth. Some of them do have a built-in electronic compass as well. It's all right on there. And it's got the air pressure. How does it get the air pressure if you don't have a hose? Well, yes, they put a transmitter on the high pressure part of your tank. This little thing right here on the tank. And this transmits to your wrist computer the air pressure left in the tank. And then the rest is easy. Air pressure and the depth and the direction and water temperature. Look at that. Logs. This is fantastic. Fantastic. I mean, it is 2024. Technology is fantastic. Not perfect, not necessarily for everybody, but it is pretty slick. So most divers today, even in training, right from the very beginning, they start with the computer. They may not have a fancy Garmin or a similar computer like this with all the fancy stuff. It may be a very basic computer, but it's computerized. Shows the tank pressure and how long you can stay down and so on. So you still need you don't really need an SPG anymore. The old SPG like this, you still, scrap it. Well, go easy now. There are lots of divers, personal friends of mine, dive buddies and so on, that still have an SPG. Why? Well, you have a spare tire in the back of your car? Yes. You probably have not had a flat tire in a very long time. Tires are incredible. You don't get flat tires, but you still have a spare tire. It's kind of the same philosophy. Computers are fantastic, but they're not perfect. Sometimes the computer itself can mess up a little bit. Sometimes you just want to check. 2,700 PSI. 2,700 you see? Sometimes you just want to check. It just makes you comfortable. It just makes you feel better. And if that's the case, if you would like to have your SPG, because you all have one, or had one, and keep it, even when you get your computer, that's not a problem. As a matter of fact, modern regulators, any regulator made in the last 5 years, maybe 10 years, has 2 high pressure ports for that very reason. Yeah, because the manufacturers know that a lot of divers want to have a computer in one high pressure port, but they want to keep their SPG in the other high pressure port. So there you go. my title is a little bit misleading. I am not advocating that you scrap your SPG. I think you probably can, depending on your diving. If you do a lot of deep diving, maybe not. But if you do pretty normal recreational diving in relatively shallow water, you can certainly, I think, my opinion, scrap your SPG and depend on your good brand name, reliable computer. But maybe not. Maybe you like to have them both. Okay? I like to leave it open to the diver, provided he has good reasons. And there you go. You can scrap your SPG or not. Think about it. See ya, Alec, Peirce. Take care. Scuba 2000, Richmond Hill. Great story.